Welcome to a Powerless Mage presence.
It's great to be back.
I want to start today by looking you, the listener, right in the eye, figuratively speaking, of course.
Of course.
So I want you to do a quick internal audit and be brutally honest with yourself for just a second. Does life feel sticky?
Sticky, that's a good word for it.
Right, like you're wading through molasses, you're doing all the steps, you wake up, you commute, you work, you eat, you go to sleep. But there's this low-level hum in the background.
A kind of static.
Yeah, static noise of anxiety, or maybe just a profound, heavy sense of boredom. You're just waiting for the weekend, waiting for the vacation, waiting for retirement.
That is the posture of waiting, and it's a very common, very, very draining state of existence. It's that feeling of life happening to you rather than you happening to life.
Exactly. And what are we all waiting for? Usually we tell ourselves we're waiting for things to calm down.
The mythical calm down.
We say things like, once this quarter is over, I'll finally have peace of mind. Or, once the kids are out of diapers, I'll have some peace. We are constantly, relentlessly chasing this concept of peace.
And at the same time, we're running from its opposite.
Terrified of it. We run from conflict. We swallow our words in a meeting because we don't want to make waves.
Yeah.
We let a friendship or a relationship just stagnate because, well, we don't want to have the talk. We don't want to fight.
Well, we have fundamentally categorized conflict as the enemy of happiness. We view it as a failure of our environment, you know. If there's conflict, we immediately think something has gone terribly wrong.
And that is the hook for today's deep dive. We're looking at a source that's simply titled The Misconception of War and Peace. And the mission today, well, it's a bit radical.
It is.
We want to persuade you, really persuade you, that your definition of peace is actually a trap. We want to argue that the very reason you feel weak or stuck is because you are avoiding the one thing that makes you strong. You're avoiding war.
Now, we need to be very, very precise here. When we say war and when we say peace, we are not talking about geopolitics.
All right.
We aren't talking about treaties or tanks or, international borders.
No history lessons today. No dates you have to memorize, I promise.
This is a manual for psychology. It's all about mindset.
Yeah.
We are going to take the dictionary definitions of these words and flip them completely upside down to help you navigate your actual day-to-day life.
It sounds so counterintuitive, though. I mean, we're taught from kindergarten. Peace is good, war is bad.
Of course.
Peace is a dove, war is a gun. It's simple.
And that binary thinking, that simple equation of peace equals relaxing and war equals death, is exactly why so many people feel powerless. And we're going to dismantle that today. We're going to look at why Merriam-Webster's definition of peace might be linguistically correct, but it is, I would argue, effectively dangerous if you try to live your life by it.
And just to ground this for you, the listener, we aren't just getting into abstract philosophy for the sake of it. This applies to why you feel that pit in your stomach on Sunday nights.
That Sunday scaries feeling.
Yes. It applies to why your marriage might feel more like your roommates instead of partners. It's all about reclaiming your agency. So let's start with the big one, the definition of peace.
Let's do it. Let's look at the book. If you open a standard dictionary, any dictionary, and you look up the word peace, you'll find a definition that seems, on the surface, incredibly appealing. It defines peace as a state of tranquility or quiet.
A state of tranquility or quiet. It sounds like a spa brochure.
Chuckles. It really does.
It implies a total absence of noise and absence of trouble. It sounds like a hammock on a beach with a drink in your hand.
And that right there is the trap. If you define peace as quiet, as the strict absence of any disturbance, you have just defined reality itself as your enemy.
Because reality is never quiet.
Never. The fundamental rule of the universe is entropy. Things fall apart. Things break. The washing machine is going to leak. The car engine is going to make a weird noise. Your boss is going to change the deadline at the last minute. The kids are going to get sick.
It's an endless stream of problems.
It is. And so if your definition of peace is the absence of these problems, you are setting yourself up to be a victim every single day of your life.
You're essentially just waiting for the world to stop spinning so you can finally get off.
Precisely. And what does that do? It encourages passivity. You sit and you wait for the quiet to arrive. You postpone your happiness until the noise stops.
And it never does. Not for long anyway.
Right. So when it doesn't stop, you feel cheated. You feel like the universe is conspiring against your personal peace. And that makes you incredibly fragile.
I like that word, fragile. It reminds me of, well, if I need total silence to sleep, I'm a fragile sleeper. Any little noise will wake me up. If I need the world to be absolutely perfect to be happy, then I'm a fragile human.
That's it, exactly. You become a leaf in the wind, just blown about by circumstance. So the source material offers us a way out of this fragility. It suggests we replace that spa definition of peace with two very robust, very powerful metaphors, the boat and the farm.
I love these visuals because they're so tangible you can really picture them. Let's dig into the boat first.
Okay. Picture a ship in the middle of the ocean. You are standing on a cliff, maybe a mile or two away, looking down at it. It's a beautiful sunny day. The ship is just cutting cleanly through the water. From that distance, what does it look like?
It looks majestic. It looks serene. It looks like tranquility and quiet. It seems completely effortless.
It fits the dictionary definition perfectly. But now let's teleport. Let's zoom all the way in and drop ourselves right onto the deck of that very same ship. What is the reality for the crew on board?
It is definitely not quiet. There's the roar of the wind in your ears, the creaking of the hull under your feet, the constant spray of salt water hitting your face. The engines are humming, or if it's a sailboat, the sails are snapping loudly.
It is a dynamic and, frankly, a hostile environment. The ocean is, in effect, constantly trying to swallow the boat. The wind is trying to push it off its course. The water is trying to find even the smallest leak. The elements are absolutely relentless.
So the crew isn't just lounging around in hammocks. They're hauling lines. They're fighting the wheel to stay on course. They're checking the charts. They're constantly patching and repairing ropes.
They are in a state of constant active resistance. Now, what happens if the captain decides to seek peace by the dictionary definition? What if he says, you know what, I want tranquility, so I'm going to stop giving orders and we will stop adjusting the sails because that's just too much noise?
The boat capsizes, or it gets smashed against the rocks. That quiet leads directly to destruction. The moment they stop fighting the ocean wins.
So the peace of the boat, its ability to sail smoothly and safely from one port to another, is not the absence of the ocean's force. It is the mastery of that force.
Wow, that is a huge distinction. Peace isn't the absence of the storm. Peace is the competence to sail through it.
Competence is the key word. The captain is at peace, not because the waves are small, but because his skill is high, her knowledge is deep. They know what to do.
Let's apply this to the second metaphor, the farm. This one, I think, hits home for anyone who has ever tried to keep a houseplant alive, let alone an entire field of crops.
We've all seen the painting, right? The picturesque red barn, the perfect green rows of corn, the beautiful blue sky. It looks like the very definition of stillness. It looks idyllic.
But just try and ask a farmer if their life is still.
A farm is a war zone.
Yeah.
It's a nonstop biological battleground. You have weeds that are biologically programmed to do one thing: choke out your crops.
Right, they're always there.
Always. You have insects that are trying to eat your profits. You have soil that wants to deplete itself of nutrients. You have weather rain that is either too scarce or too heavy. You have fences that are constantly rotting and need repair.
It's a relentless struggle against nature trying to reclaim the land. You do nothing, the forest just takes the farm back.
That's exactly it. If the farmer seeks tranquility and just takes a month off to be quiet and do nothing, the farm ceases to exist. It becomes a patch of weeds and a collapsed barn in a few years.
So that beautiful, peaceful image we all admire is actually the result of intense, disciplined, and you could even say violent labor against the forces of chaos.
It is the result of dominance. The farmer has imposed human order onto natural chaos. He has subdued the land.
This really, really challenges the modern desire for a stress-free life. I hear people say that all the time. I just want a stress-free life. But based on this, a stress-free life is a dead farm.
Or a sinking boat. You see, we often look at successful people who seem to have it all together, who have this peace, and we envy their result. We think, look how easy they have it. We are looking at their boat from the shore.
We don't see what's happening on the deck.
We don't see the discipline, the early mornings, the constant course corrections they're doing every single day to maintain that stability.
We want their quiet without their work.
And that is impossible. Real peace is not when your problems disappear. Real peace is when you are strong enough to handle your problems in a controlled, orderly way. It is the difference between hiding in a bunker, hoping the war ends, and being a general who knows how to command the field.
One is based on luck, the other is based on skill.
Correct. And luck, as we all know, eventually runs out. Skill, on the other hand, compounds over time.
So I want to pause here and just ask you, the listener, to really let this sink in. This is the first reflexive checkpoint. Think about your life right now. Where are you waiting for quiet?
Or where are you hoping the waves just magically get smaller?
Are you ignoring your credit card debt, just hoping it will, I don't know, go away? That's seeking dictionary piece. Are you ignoring a health issue, hoping it just settles down on its own?
Ask yourself this question. Am I trying to hide from the storm, or am I learning how to sail? Because the storm is coming regardless. The only variable you actually control is your ability to handle it. So in what area of your life are you waiting for quiet instead of doing the work to master the storm?
Okay, so we've completely redefined peace. It's active. It's mastery. It's about keeping the farm. Now we have to look at the other side of the coin. The word that makes everyone so uncomfortable, war.
War. It is a loaded word. And, rightly so, in a literal sense, war is horrific. It means destruction and loss and terrible pain.
Right. And I want to be crystal clear here. We aren't telling you to go start a fistfight in the parking lot. We are not advocating for violence in any way.
Not at all. The source material is very, very specific about this. It reclaims the word war to describe an internal state of being. It says, and this is a quote, "Real warriors are strong enough to win without cheating, without violence."
That sounds like a contradiction. How can you have war without violence? Usually those two words are synonymous.
The source draws a crucial distinction. It defines violence as taking life away. It's destructive, it's chaotic, it's uncontrolled rage. But it defines war, the noble war, as defending life.
Defending life. Okay, give me an example of that. How does that look in the real world for an everyday person?
Think of a mother fighting for her child's special needs education in a broken school system. Is she violent? No. Is she at war? Absolutely. She is mobilizing all of her energy. She is strategizing. She is refusing to yield. She's pushing relentlessly against bureaucratic obstacles. She's defending the potential of a life.
Or, say, an entrepreneur trying to get a new medical device to market. You have to fight against regulations, funding issues, technical failures. It's a constant battle.
It is a battle against entropy. It is a battle against mediocrity. The source says war is about being the very best you can offer to your culture, your nation, your world.
So war, in this sense, is the pursuit of excellence.
War is the struggle that is required to manifest excellence, because excellence is not our natural state. Mediocrity is natural. Gravity pulls us down. Laziness pulls us down. To simply stand up straight, both metaphorically and literally, requires a constant fight against gravity. That fight is the war.
I really like that. Gravity is natural. Standing up is the war. But the source also mentions cheating. This part really stuck out to me. Winning through shortcuts denies you the chance to be superior.
This is the spiritual core of the entire argument. In our modern world, we are completely obsessed with hacks.
Oh, yeah. Life hacks, productivity hacks, get-rich-quick schemes.
We want the prize without the struggle. We want the reward without the effort.
We want the six-pack abs, but we want a pill that will give them to us. We don't want to go to the gym. We don't want to sweat.
But let's say you get the pill. You have the appearance of strength, but do you have the reality of strength? No.
No.
You are still weak. You just look strong.
You've cheated the process.
And the process is the entire point.
Yeah.
The war. The daily grind at the gym, the long hours studying, the frustrating work of building a business. That is what actually changes you. If you cheat the war, you might get the trophy, but you lose the transformation.
The source says, a warrior who cheats isn't a warrior.
Think about a student who cheats on every single test to become a doctor. They graduate. They have the diploma. They have the peace of being done with school. But would you want that person to operate on you?
Absolutely not. That's a terrifying thought.
Because they avoided the war. They didn't struggle with the material, so they never mastered it. They are a fraud. They have the symbol of competence without any of the substance.
This completely redefines what success is. Success isn't just having the thing. Success is becoming the kind of person who earned the thing.
Yes. It is about essence versus appearance. The noble war is the fight to make your inner essence match your outer ambition.
So if we look at this through the lens of the warrior spirit, it's not about aggression towards other people at all. It's about aggression towards your own weaknesses.
It is the internal jihad, if you will, the great struggle. It's the battle against the part of you that wants to hit the snooze button, the part that wants to tell a small lie, the part that wants to give up when things get hard. The source says, war is not pretty, but we should not avoid it when it is inevitable.
And struggle is inevitable. We already established that.
If you are alive, you are in a stream of problems. You have two choices. You can either drift, which is losing, or you can swim, which is war. Drifting is easy, but it takes you wherever the river wants to go, not where you want to go. Swimming is hard, but it gives you direction.
So let's pose the question to the listener again. Think about a struggle you're facing right now. Maybe it's a difficult project at work. Maybe it's trying to get back in shape. Maybe it's learning a new language.
Are you looking for the shortcut? Are you Googling for the hack to make it easy? Or are you willing to actually engage in the war? Are you willing to embrace the difficulty? Because, deep down, that the difficulty is what builds the muscle.
That's the difference between trying to get it over with and trying to get better from it.
Beautifully put. Think about your own struggles. Are you acting like a warrior, giving your absolute best without shortcuts? Or are you just trying to get by?
Now, this leads us into what I think is the most insidious trap that the source identifies. We've talked about peace. We've talked about war. Now we need to talk about false peace.
Peace as a prison.
That is such a heavy phrase.
Mm-hmm.
How can peace possibly be a prison? We usually think of peace as the ultimate freedom.
The source warns us. There is a point where looking for peace is trying to avoid conflict and not master it. When we avoid necessary conflict, we create a false peace, and that false peace is a cage of our own making.
Give me a concrete example of that. I want the listener to really be able to visualize this.
The classic example is the zombie marriage. Two people who have fallen out of love. Maybe there's a deep resentment simmering just beneath the surface. Maybe trust has been broken in a fundamental way, but they don't fight. They don't scream. They don't bring up the hard issues. They just, watch TV in separate rooms. The house is quiet. It fits the dictionary definition of peace perfectly.
But it's a graveyard.
Yeah.
It's totally suffocating.
It is a prison. They are trapped in that silence. They are actively avoiding the war, the difficult conversations, the therapy, or perhaps even the painful breakup that is required to get to a better place. They are choosing a painless death over a potentially painful rebirth.
Or think about the job example.
Yeah.
You're in a comfortable corporate job. The pay is decent. The benefits are fine. But the work is absolutely soul-crushing. You're bored. You can feel your brain atrophying. You know, you are capable of more. But leaving requires updating your resume, networking, interviewing. It requires risk. It requires the war of uncertainty. So you stay.
You stay in the false peace. And the source says this leads to a profound disconnection. It says, in some cases, peace is a sign of disconnection with our ideals because we refuse to defend them with everything we have.
You are betraying yourself just to stay comfortable. You're disconnecting from the person you know you could be.
And that betrayal, that constant low-level self-betrayal, it rots you from the inside out. That's that sticky feeling we talked about in the intro. That's the feeling of your potential dying on the vine because you were too polite or too scared to fight for it.
The source has a great line for this. Peace should never be confused with complacency.
Complacency is the moment you say, this is good enough, when you know in your heart it really isn't.
And this all leads to what is probably the most controversial piece of advice in this entire deep dive, the start a war argument.
Yes. This is the one that makes people lean back a bit. The source says, we should not simply start a war, but we should be brave enough to recognize when peace must end.
That is a terrifying thought. Recognize when peace must end. That means looking at your stable, quiet, but miserable situation and deciding to take a sledgehammer to it.
It means you have to be the one to disrupt the status quo. It means walking into your boss's office and saying, this project isn't working and we need to change direction. It means telling your partner, we cannot keep going on like this. We need to fix this or we need to end this. It means you have to be the one to create the storm.
But why? Why create a storm? Why not just stay safe in the quiet harbor?
Because you cannot get to true peace, the mastered peace we talked about with the boat, without going through the storm. You have to break the false peace in order to build the real peace.
It's like a bone that healed wrong.
Yeah.
The doctor has to re-break it in order to set it properly, and that is incredibly painful.
It is incredibly painful in the short term, but the alternative is walking with a limp for the rest of your life. The alternative is permanent disability.
The source says you need to be strong, intelligent, and passionate enough to lead that change.
Lead that change. That phrasing is so important. You aren't just throwing a tantrum. You aren't just flipping the table because you're angry. You are leading a transition. You are the captain realizing the boat is stuck in stagnant waters and you have to steer it into the rough waves to find the wind again.
You have a destination in mind, a better peace.
Exactly. It is a calculated, strategic move to seek a higher form of order, even if it requires temporary chaos.
I think a lot of people listening might be nodding their heads right now. We tolerate so much mediocrity in our lives just to keep things quiet.
We do. We're taught to. We prioritize politeness over truth. We prioritize safety over growth. And the inevitable result is a life that feels small, a powerless life.
So listener, here is the reflexive question for this section. And it's a hard one. Be honest with yourself. Is the peace you have right now in some area of your life actually just fear of rocking the boat?
Ask yourself, is this tranquility or is it captivity? Are you keeping the peace or are you just keeping your mouth shut? Is it time to end that peace, to stand up for what you believe in?
Is it tranquility or captivity? That needs to go on a sticky note on the bathroom mirror.
It demands an honest answer. And usually the honest answer is pretty uncomfortable.
Okay, let's pivot slightly. We've done a lot of the heavy psychological lifting. Now let's look at how our culture reinforces these broken definitions. The source has a great section called Decoding the Sayings.
Oh, I love this part. It shows how we've twisted ancient wisdom to justify our own laziness and our own moral flexibility.
Let's start with the first one. All is fair in love and war.
A classic. Everyone knows it.
And how do we usually use this phrase? It's the scumbag's motto, right? Oh, I lied to my investors to get funding. Well, all is fair in love and war. I spread rumors about my rival at work. All is fair.
We interpret it to mean the ends justify the means. We think it means that when the stakes are high, like in love, or war morality gets suspended, it's basically a permission slip for sociopathy. It means there are no rules.
But the source argues we have it completely backwards.
100% backwards, the source argues. Yes, the expression does suggest using every resource at our disposal, but it also carries the implicit threat of doing so justly.
Yesly. That one word changes everything.
Think back to the cheating concept we just discussed. If a warrior is someone who strives for excellence and superiority of character, can a warrior cheat?
No, because cheating is an admission of weakness. It's you admitting you aren't good enough to win by the rules, so you have to break them.
Exactly. So all is fair doesn't mean break the rules. It means bring everything you have to the fight. It means total commitment. It means you don't hold back any of your effort, any of your passion, any of your strategy. But you must maintain your essence as you do it.
The source says, a lover or warrior who cheats has lost their essence.
It's so true. If you win a woman's heart by pretending to be a billionaire or by hiding your past, have you actually won her?
No. She loves the lie you created. She doesn't love the real you.
So you have won the war of courtship, but you've lost the entire prize. You're not a lover. You're a con artist. The victory is completely hollow. You have to live in constant fear of being found out.
So the corrected definition is something like, in love and war, hold nothing back, but lose nothing of yourself in the process.
That is the standard. It demands high-intensity A&D, high integrity. Most people choose one or the other. They're intense and corrupt, or they are honest and passive. The warrior is both intense and honest.
That's a high bar. It sounds exhausting, but also incredibly rewarding. Let's look at the second saying. If you want peace, prepare for war. Si vis pacem parabellum.
A classic Latin phrase.
And usually this is used by military hawks. It means we need to build more nukes so that nobody attacks us.
The deterrence theory. Scare them so much they leave you alone.
Right. But in the context of our deep dive today, how does this source interpret this? How does it apply to our personal, everyday lives?
Well, just remember our new definition of peace. Peace is conflict mastered.
Right. The boat sailing successfully through the storm.
So if you want that mastery, if you want that peace, you must prepare your skills. You must prepare for war.
Ah, so it's not about stockpiling weapons, it's about training.
The source says, peace is formed by winning small wars, and every war fought teaches us how to master peace.
Winning small wars. Break that down for me. What's a small war?
The alarm goes off at 6 a.m. You want to hit the snooze button. That is a small war. If you hit snooze, you lose the war. If you get up immediately, you win.
You want to eat the donut instead of the apple? That's a small war. You want to snap at your spouse because you're tired and irritable? That's a war against your own temper.
Every single time you win one of those small internal wars, you build a tiny little bit of peace. You build discipline, you build willpower, you build resilience.
You're basically building the hull of the boat, making it stronger, piece by piece.
Yes. You are reinforcing the farm fences. If you consistently lose all the small wars, if you sleep in every day, eat junk food, skip the gym, procrastinate on your work, let your temper flare, then when the big war comes, when a real crisis hits your life, you will completely collapse.
You haven't prepared. You are soft. You have no reserve.
You cannot handle the boat at sea, which is the big crisis, if you haven't mastered the boat in the harbor, which is your daily routine.
So prepare for war is really a call to radical self-improvement. It's saying, if you want a life that feels manageable and calm, You have to ruthlessly train yourself every single day to handle the unmanageable.
It's the paradox of the athlete. Who has more peace while running a marathon? The person who spent 6 months at war with themselves, training their body, running in the rain, pushing through the pain, or the person who sat on the couch seeking tranquility for 6 months?
The person who sat on the couch is going to have a heart attack at mile 2. It'll be pure chaos and suffering for them. The trained runner, on the other hand, is going to flow through it. It's still hard, but it's a mastered difficulty.
The training is the war. The race itself is the peace.
That connects the whole loop. The war isn't the enemy of peace. The war is the price of peace.
Precisely. You cannot just be given peace. You can only rent it with luck, or you can buy it with discipline.
You can only rent it with luck or buy it with discipline. That's the tweet for the whole episode right there.
Chuckles. I try.
So here's reflexive question number 4. Look at where you are feeling overwhelmed in your life right now. Is it really because the problem is too big, or is it because your preparation for war has been too small?
Have you been skipping the small wars? Procrastinating? Taking the easy way out? And are you now paying the price for that in the big one? If all is fair actually means give your best with integrity, how does that change your strategy for your current problems?
We have covered a massive amount of ground here. I mean, we've dismantled the dictionary, we've sailed the boat, we've farmed the land, we've reclaimed the word war, and we've decoded ancient Latin sayings.
It is a lot to digest, but the pattern, I hope, is becoming very clear to the listener.
Let's try to synthesize this entire message before we let our listener go. If you take nothing else away from this hour, what are the 4 pillars they absolutely need to remember?
Okay, pillar number 1. Realize that real peace is hard work. It is the farm, not the hammock. It is dynamic, not static. It is the mastery of chaos, not the absence of it.
Pillar 2. Realize that real war is internal excellence. It's about defending your values and giving your absolute best to whatever you're doing. It is not about violence. It is about intensity and integrity.
Third, and this is a big one, beware of false peace. If you are avoiding a necessary conflict just to stay comfortable, you are not free. You are building a prison for yourself. You are rotting in safety.
And fourth, be willing to break the peace. If your situation is stagnant or unjust, you must find the courage to be the warrior who starts the necessary conflict that leads to a better future.
It really all comes down to agency. Are you a passenger in your life just hoping for a smooth ride? Or are you the captain ready to sail the ship wherever it needs to go?
You know, I think a lot of the dissatisfaction people feel, that stuck molasses feeling we started with, it really just comes from boredom.
Boredom. Tell me more about that.
Spiritual boredom. We are bored because we aren't fighting for anything meaningful. We're just existing. We're consuming content, eating food, going to work, but we are not engaged in a noble struggle.
That is a very profound insight. Humans are built for struggle. We are problem-solving machines. If you take away all the problems, if you seek only quiet, you deny your very nature. You deny your biology.
We need a dragon to slay, or at the very least, a farm to tend. We need to feel that we are useful, that we are capable, that we are growing.
And growth only ever happens through resistance.
Yeah.
You cannot build muscle without fighting against gravity. You cannot build character without fighting through conflict.
So the solution to your unhappiness might not be another vacation. It might not be more rest. The solution might actually be to find a bigger, more meaningful load to carry.
To adopt the mindset of the warrior, stop being afraid of the waves, learn how to sail the boat.
Stop looking for the easy way out, because that's just cheating yourself. Look for the way that makes you superior.
Superior to your old self, superior to your fears, superior to your laziness.
So my final question to you, listener, is this. Tomorrow morning, when that alarm goes off, will you wake up hoping for a quiet day where nothing goes wrong?
Or will you wake up ready to master the conflict and build real peace?
The choice is yours, every single morning.
It is a choice between fragility and strength. Choose strength.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope this shifted something in your brain today.
It's always a pleasure to explore these ideas. And remember, this is not just theory. This is a call to action.
Don't simply take our word. Put everything you heard here to the test. Make this knowledge truly yours.
We invite you to share your ideas, your thoughts, and experiences in the comments section. Like the podcast if you enjoyed it or it was useful to you, and subscribe to learn more about similar topics.
Remember, the power is yours.